Into the ballgame is Paul McKeskey, who's become kind of a cult hero in Milwaukee, Tommy.
Roberts hits McKeskey at the other end.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Ricky Hampton with my great friend Paul McKeskey for my favorite hour of the week. I hope my wife Kathy's not around when I say that. Anytime with her, it's my favorite hour. But other than that, and being on the golf course, maybe, being with Big Mo is my favorite.
You got to revalue your life, man. You got to look at your life if this is your best hour. Happy Cinco de Mayo, baby.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you. And happy Cinco de Mayo to all our friends out there. Let's hear your questions, comments, playoffs, baby. This is the best brand of basketball in the world we are watching. And Mo, and I asked you numerous times to try to explain that jump from the regular season to the postseason, but it is definitely significant.
Yeah, I mean, this year the refs are letting them play more, like old-time basketball, so it's even more physical. They're not calling stuff, except I watched the part of the Boston game this morning. Today they're calling everything, but for the most part, it's been very, very physical basketball, kind of like the old days.
Yeah, and what's wrong with that, Mo?
Nothing really, except, I think they're going overboard. I mean, sometimes some of these guys are just getting whacked all over the arm and everything. That's a foul, man. I don't know.
I don't think today's players understand the level of physicality the way it used to be. So when they ramp it up, maybe a little too sensitive.
You know who else doesn't know what's going on? The referees. They don't ref like this all year, and now they're asking, okay, let them play physical. They're pretty clueless too. So, because they've never ref this way before. So, hopefully it won't, come down to some crazy calls or something. And the other thing I don't know, Ricky, I have no idea what a flagrant one is anymore. I have no idea. Yeah. And then Draymond gets a flagrant one, but not a technical. So flagrant one's not a technical. I don't know. I used to think I knew the rules. I don't know them anymore.
Yeah. That's a great point, Paul. And I think the consistency of the officiating has not been there. But Mo, that's on them to be better, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're the only ones that can get better, right? I mean, and stop sending out 2-minute report. That's so much. Oh, my bad. We lost you the game. So yeah, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. I mean, that's when referees should be fined, and they should be fined and noticed. When they make mistakes in the last 2 minutes of the game, they should be fined for that.
Yeah. And right now, the Celtics have cut into the Knicks. Lead is down to 84-80.
Other way around.
Yeah, the Celtics are up 84-80 in the fourth quarter with about 9 minutes to go. Porzingis has gone out, Mo, and has not played in the second half. And it's been a different game with him off the court. Although, he only played 12 minutes in the first half, but his presence means a lot to the Celtics. Yeah,
but Cornet is playing okay, but, doesn't have the range. Horford has the range, but he's not a shot blocker. But, I mean, they had a 20-point lead. The Celtics are one of the best teams and the deepest teams in the NBA. They should be able to keep a 20-point lead. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, hadn't played in a while. Maybe that's part of it too.
I mean, and this is what's going to happen. I mean, when I broke down like the Celtics-Knicks series, and we know this, everyone's talking about this, right? The Knicks starters play ungodly minutes. So eventually in a 7-game series, it's going to catch up with you. They played 6 games against Detroit. Boston played 4 against Orlando. So that's already playing in the hands of Boston. Now, in the Detroit series, Brunson played 40 minutes a game. Townsend 38, Anunoby 42, Bridges 38, Hart 37. The next closest guy was Robinson at 16, and then Payne at 9.
Wow.
And that's going to catch up with you. Look at Tatum's breakdown. I mean, look at the Celtics breakdown. Tatum 39, Brown 36, White 37, Porzingis 27, Holiday 34, Pritchard 27, Horford 32, Cornette 16, Hauser 15. So that seems a lot more even. I mean, I just got to believe that, no matter what happens tonight, Celtics should win. They're up 20. But they're just going to wear this Knicks team down because, they don't have, or either the coach is not playing the bench.
And that Pistons series was a physical, hard-fought series too. It was taxing on both teams.
Yeah, it adds up. Just think, Ricky, the NBA finals are a month away.
Right.
They're a month away. Not next week, not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks. A month away. Just think you have another month of the season to get to the finals. Come on, man. It's going to wear on you. It wears on. I don't care how good a shape you're in. It's going to wear on you. So we'll see.
And unfortunately, I saw the Knicks up close and too personal. They took out my Pistons. But I give them credit, Mo. They're a hard-nosed team. They're tough-minded. They take on the personality of their coach. They are a team that plays the way Tibbs likes to coach.
Yeah, and that's a credit to the organization, right? Because they brought in players like him. Jason Hart is just like him. They brought him in. They didn't draft him. They brought him in. Brunson, they traded for or signed Brunson as a free agent. He's just like him. So, the only guy that's not just like him is Anthony Towns, who's a little soft, but he's a very effective big. But, all the other guys are tough. But
Anunoby's a grinder. Yeah, that is a great point, Mo. They really take on the personality of.
Well, they don't take. I don't. That's. I'm saying they don't take on the personality. They are.
The personality. Yeah.
They were. And they brought him in. They didn't get there and go, okay, we're going to be like Tibbs now. That's not how it works, So they brought the right personnel in.
Yeah. Good point. What's up, Steve? Does the NBA still have women refs? Yes.
A few, not very many anymore.
Yes.
None of them are working the playoffs.
None of them. And Paul, I know in the NFL. Officials are promoted throughout the year, and the guys with the best grades get into the playoffs. Is that the same in the NBA?
Yeah, that's part of it. And then, your longevity, how long you've been reffing, is also put into effect. So it's both those things. But you're supposed to be rewarded, when you get graded better, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And the Knicks are hanging in there, man. Only a point down. But let's get to some of the other games, Paul. And I see we got a lot of folks out there. They're probably doing like you and I, watching the game a little bit.
I got the game. I'm focused on our show, Ricky. The game's not on where I'm at. I'm focused on our show and our watchers and our listeners. I'm focused on that. I don't have the game on. It doesn't matter. Our show matters.
That meant your promo, and I got a ways to go. We got 2 games tonight. After this, another interesting matchup. And let's go straight to this one, Paul. The Nuggets, what they did to the Clippers. I'm not surprised they won, Paul, but the way they embarrassed the Clippers the other day, I mean, my goodness, man, that's not how you want to go out.
Yeah, it's really sad. And James Harden had another flop of his same Game 7 like he's had in the past, and that's his knock on him. And, Kawhi Leonard's a really quiet guy, right? Yeah. He very rarely talks. And in his press conference, one of his comments was, we didn't play hard enough. We need to play harder. Hello? What do you mean? You're in the seventh game of a series and you're not playing hard. What are you talking? That's so mind-boggling to me. And that's a problem. So they have to address that problem. If you can't play hard in a game 7, what's wrong with you? Your priorities are messed up, and that's what really stood out. They folded. They did the El Foldo, and then they were going on vacation or whatever, and they didn't play hard. Just play hard, man. I don't understand that, and that puts a different taste in your mouth. I mean, when I was with the Dallas Mavericks coaching and we went to the finals against Miami and we were up 2-0 and we went to Miami, lost 3 in a row. We lost a game. We lost 2 games we shouldn't have lost 2, and then we lost game 6 back home. It felt horrible. I mean, it's going to feel bad anyway, but at least we could have gone out playing, our top game, and then it feels better. Hey, they beat us, man. They're a better team, but I gotta believe the Clippers and their owner, who spends billions of dollars, they have the highest payroll besides Phoenix, I think. I mean, you're sitting there in Denver watching your team that you spent billions of dollars on fall apart right in front of your eyes. Not enough effort, giving up on their coach, giving up on you. I mean, if I'm the owner, I'm shaking that tree and making big changes, and it might even be Ty Lue. Might be him too.
I was going to say they can't run that team back out there next year after that.
No, of course not. I mean, there's some free agents there, and there's some movement, but guess what? It's like the Milwaukee Bucks. I told you, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Giannis is 1-10 in the last 10 playoff games he's played in. It's not working, man. So what are you going to do? You're going to put some Band-Aids on it or shake it up? Clippers are even worse. I mean, they got to make big moves.
How about this, Mo? James Harden, 7 points. He did have 13 assists and played 35 minutes, 2 of 8 from the field, was a minus 29. And the only person worse than him in the plus minus was Kawhi Leonard, who was minus 33.
See, that's horrible. That plus minus, throw it out the window, Ricky. That doesn't judge anything. That's a horrible stat. Plus minus is terrible.
You don't like that? Okay.
Plus minus for an individual doesn't work. Do you think Kawhi Leonard was a minus 30 in that game? Wasn't he the only guy playing?
Right, he had 22.
So here's the problem with plus minus. I'm gonna educate everybody out there. Plus minus is a group stat. That means 5 guys on the team on the floor at the same time. So let me put it this way. I'm doing it. Ricky, you and I are on the floor, at the same time. I'm doing everything right. I'm making some shots. I'm passing the ball. I'm setting picks, and you're doing everything wrong, Ricky. You're missing shots wide open. You're throwing the ball away. You're dribbling off your foot, Ricky. Guess what? Yeah, guess what? My plus minus is the same as yours.
It's tied to mine. Okay.
It's tied to 5 players. That's what plus minus is. That's the worst stat ever. But, so please, I mean, God, coaches, don't use plus minus as an individual. Plus minus is for you to judge how that group works together. So we got 5 guys, and that group is, they shoot the ball well, but they don't defend, so that's not very good. This defending, there's got to be a combination. That's a group rating, not an individual rating. Horrible. But here's my other question. And I know James Harden is cool and one of the best scorers in the league and blah, 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 blah. Does he ever look like he's playing hard? Ever?
No.
And forever he hasn't played hard on defense. I mean, he's been the butt of jokes and video of showing how horrible. He makes Luka look like a good defender. That's how bad Harden is. I mean, he's the reason they lost the game. He didn't block out Gordon on that last shot. On the free, they didn't block him out. It's Harden. So, I mean, it's just, but if you don't even, he didn't even look like he was trying hard on offense. How many times did he dribble till 5 seconds on the shot clock, and then pass it to someone, Powell here, hope you make a shot. I mean, what kind of? I don't know, man.
Mo, and to your point on the plus minus, the five guys with the most minutes that night had 33, 31, minus 33, minus 31, minus 29, minus 27, and minus 17. So that all those guys, so those were the starters.
The groups plus
yeah,
minus is the group that's on the floor. The five guys.
yeah,
Five guys. So if I'm playing with four guys that are terrible, my plus minus is going to be terrible. If I'm an average, if I don't make mistakes and I'm running with a good, I got Tatum, I got Brown, I got White, I got all these guys on my team, and I'm just floating around and doing my thing and just jogging around. My plus minus is off the charts. I didn't do anything.
See, Mo, that is great stuff, man. That is great stuff. Because I think you certainly educated me, and I think a lot of our viewers out there, because you hear guys throw that out there on, man, this plus minus is so freaking bad, it means nothing.
So plus minus is five guys, is the group that's out on the floor. So, I mean, and logic tells you that. I do everything right. We're playing the same time. You do everything wrong. We have the same plus minus.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And the reason I'm so irate about it is my two sons, Michael and Brian, played on a junior college team in Dallas at the same time. And that coach, who was an okay coach, he did their playing time by plus minus. So I have Michael and Brian, the bigs, that are blocking shots and rebounding and outletting the ball, and their guards are throwing the ball away, turning the ball over, missing threes, jacking up shots. And my son's plus minus was as bad as their plus minus. And they were doing everything they're supposed to do, and they can't get in the game the next game because their plus minus was bad. And I tried to explain it to him, but he didn't want to listen. But it only make plus minus is a group. It's not someone going, okay, watch Ricky in the game for the next 10 minutes and we're going to plus minus him. That's not how it works. We're going to see Ricky and Mo are in the game with these three other guys. They get in the game at the 2-minute mark and they're in the game for 10 minutes, and whatever that score is, that's their plus minus.
Hey, well, Paul, well, tell me this. Do we, because of the technology today that we have, do you think we have too much information now?
No, I think people misunderstand information. They misunderstand the information. Like we've had this talk before, Ricky, analytics, right? Everyone's going, what? Stop taking threes. Why is this analytics screwing up the NBA game? Because everybody's taking threes. That's not what analytics says. The best shot is a layup in analytics. The second best shot is getting fouled, get to the free throw line. The third best shot is taking a three. That's not, but they're misunderstood. People don't understand what analytics is. They don't understand plus minus. You can't have too much information. How you decipher that information and how you value that information. Like one of the worst defensive stats that I believe in basketball is steals. That's a horrible stat. And I'll tell you why. Because if Ricky, if you say you average 3 steals a game, right? Or let's say 4. That's probably top in the league, right? You're averaging 4 steals a game. But guess what? You went for 20 of them. You reached and missed a steal, and your guy drove by you to the basket, and guess who's there? Me, trying to block the shot, and I get a foul. Plus minus. But just because you got 3 steals, how many times did you miss the steal? That's a bad stat. And I know that personally. I defensive graded the Mavericks, and I defensive graded the Charlotte team. We didn't grade steals. We graded deflections. On defense, if you deflect the ball, that's good. Your hands are in the way. You're helping your teammate. But steals, that's another bad deceiving stat. The best defender in the league is not the guy that leads the league in steals.
Mo, teach us, Mo. We're in class, y'all, tonight.
That's 3 things I taught you about. Plus minus, steals is a bad stat, and what was the other one? Oh, analytics. There you go. So everybody out there, you're learning, baby.
Hey, Paul, what do you think about this matchup with the Nuggets and OKC?
I think it should be a good one, but I'm going to bring up what I just talked about with the New York Knicks. Denver has no bench. They have no bench. They play 6 guys. 6 and 7, 6. And OKC, right? Let's talk about minutes again. I mean, the starters on both teams are pretty equal, but like, listen, look, the Joker against the Clippers played 40 minutes. Murray played 42. Gordon played 39. Westbrook 26. Brown played 39. Porter Jr. played 33. Everybody else played 3 or 5 minutes in that series. So they played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys pretty much. Oklahoma City, granted they blew Memphis out, but Shea Alexander 35 minutes. Jalen Williams, 34. Holmgren, 29. Wiggins, 14. Hartenstein, 24. Joe, 16. Caruso, 21. Dort played 30. Wallace played 20. How about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players average double figures in minutes played. So eventually it's going to foul trouble, injuries, and a short bench is going to catch up with you. And Denver did it 2 years ago, won the championship, right? They only played 6 guys, and they did it. I think that was a outlier. That was a fluke. And now you got OKC, you got Minnesota. I mean, even the Golden State Warriors are okay. They have some depth. They don't have any size, but they have some depth. But Denver does not. And then if you're lucky enough to get past that, and you're gonna play Boston or Cleveland, or Indiana. Indiana. I think they have 7 players averaging double figures in points. So it's going to catch up to them. So, I think if and you saw the Joker get really tired in the Clippers series. At some of the end of those games, he was worn out, and he's gonna, OKC is better than the Clippers, and they're deeper, and they're gonna come at you. So I think it should be a good series, 6 games, because it's no joke going to Denver playing in that altitude. So you really have to use your bench, but OKC should come out of that series.
Hey, let's go back a little bit. The 2-seed Rockets failed to Golden State 103-89 yesterday. And the Rockets were the 2 seeds, Mo, but Mo, you were never too sure about them. I mean, they got some good young talent, but it seems like they were lacking something.
Well, experience and shooting for a couple things. And also, we remember, we've talked about this for months. The West was the Wild Wild West. The difference between the 2 seed and the 6 seed was 2 games or a game and a half. So are you really a 2 seed? Really? Are you? Or are you 1 game away from the 6 seed? So, that's a big difference. And, they're just like Detroit Pistons, who gave up a great fight. They have a good, bright future if they run things right, make the right decisions. Same with Houston. They're in the same boat. They need scoring. They need shooting. How they're going to get it, it's going to be interesting. But both of them are inexperienced young teams. So, it's no surprise they lost. It's a growing thing.
Yeah. And the Warriors advance. But Mo, you're so right about their size. I mean, man, I think Draymond was their biggest guy for most of the game the other night. And he's 6'6", 6'7".
Here's the other problem. He was their biggest guy, and he's small. But they also played 4 other guards around him, right? They played Steph Curry, Podziemski, Hield, and Moody or Butler. Those are all guards. So you're playing, not only are you small at the center, and incredibly short and small. I mean, Draymond did a great job, but then you're playing 4 other guards with him. So I mean, let's face it. So now you're going to go against Minnesota, and Edwards, Randall, McDaniels, Naz Reid, Gobert. They all got size and good and strength. DiVincenzo. I mean, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do when Steph Curry is guarding Randall and Edwards? I mean, hello.
Well, I think Minnesota could come out of the West.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. They've been playing really good. Randall's been playing good. Here's the other thing with Golden State. Gobert had 9 offensive rebounds against the Lakers. How many do you think he's going to get against the Warriors? 20? He might set a record for offensive rebounds in a game. If he would play that with that energy and that hard and just go the offensive glass, he could get 15 offensive rebounds. He could get 30 rebounds, 15 offensive. So, that's another story.
Hey, I'm tuned in. I am dedicated to the offense, to the show, Steve. I don't know what you're talking about. It'd be different if our Pistons were playing.
What's the score?
It's tied up, I believe.
Holy
Boston's up 1.
I might have to turn it on.
But that's a great point you got about Golden State there in that series in Minnesota. Man, I love what they're doing. I know Coach Finch, you and Coach Finch worked together over the years, so you know what kind of coach he is.
You don't follow Facebook, Ricky? You don't follow me on Facebook?
I do follow you on Facebook.
Did you see my post I did about 2 hours ago?
No, I did not. I have not been on Facebook this evening. You were talking about.
So I know Steve Kerr. I play with him in Cleveland. We've been friends for a long time. And then Chris Finch and I coached in the D League before the G League, and we won a championship there. And then I coached with Coach Finch with the Great Britain national team, and we went to the 2012 Olympics in London. So both of them are my friends. I know both of them really well, and I'm just I don't know who to root for. I text each one of them after each game, and they text me back after the game from the locker room. And I told
one of those camps that you ever see when somebody got a kid on both teams. We're gonna get you one of those.
The problem is I play with the Warriors too. So
speaking of Facebook, I saw on Facebook the other day Dr. J coming out of the game against the Milwaukee Bucks. And in the background, I see he's coming out, everybody's standing, cheering, and clapping. He comes up, and I see you walking to the free throw line. I guess looks like you're walking to the free throw line.
Yeah. Where'd you see that?
I saw it on Facebook, but I was going to try to copy it. I could not copy it, so I got to find it. It was really cool.
Yeah, I was at the free throw line when he went out of the game for the last time in his career.
Yeah.
In a playoff game in Milwaukee. Yeah, I told the referee, I said, listen, just count these two. I don't have to shoot them. No one's watching me anyway. Because they're all watching Doc, getting standing ovation and everything. I mean, that's one of the memorable parts of my career that I remember. I was at the free throw line when Doc Rivers came out, when Dr. J came out of the game for his last time of his whole career in Milwaukee.
I'm going to find that, Mo, because Lucas comes up and gives him a hug. He taps him and he looks around at Luke and he gives him a hug. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I made both those free throws, by the way.
But Paul would really kill. He's walking out there, giving the game ball even though they lost. And he's holding that ball like it's a softball, man, and just waving at everybody. The ball looks like a softball in Doc's hands.
Yeah, he's, Dr. J's hands, Artist Gilmore's hands. It's just big, big hands.
I'm like, my goodness. But I will get that, and we're going to run that on the show. I'm really surprised by Mo's former team getting bounced game 1 versus the Pacers. Cleveland better clean things up. That's from I got Chris. What do you think about that, Mo?
Yeah, I think it really surprised me. I think the Cavs were kind of rusty. I think, and I think I'll tell you this, Chris, too. I think I tell you everybody all the time, the biggest ability in the NBA is availability, and the Cavs playing without Garland, their point guard, really hurt them, and I think that was a big factor. But it's only game one. And Cavs have to win game two, or the series could be over faster than we thought. But you know, game ones are game ones. So
Uh, Steve just said we can find that game on YouTube, the last portion of that Bucks
yeah,
Sixers
no, I've
game.
seen it. I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah, but this is really condensed, which is pretty cool. So you get right to it. I can find that.
I
And
got it. It's condensed right here, Ricky, in my head. It's condensed right in my head.
Mo, brother, you've been there, done that. That's why we love talking to you. And hey, man, we got a big house in here tonight. I see everybody out there. Send us your questions. Send us your thoughts on what you've seen so far in the playoffs. Mo, losing a first round game at home is not as critical as it used to be.
Well, yeah, it's never been critical.
It's never, I know.
Yeah,
It's never
but it's
good when it happens.
I think there's less home court advantage now. Not because of the fans and not because of the arenas, because of the travel. The travel is different now. You travel after a game, you're on a private jet, you got masseuses and nutritionists, and you're eating food. You're eating salads and food that they give you on the plane instead of going to Applebee's after the game because it's the only place open and getting some nachos and nuggets. So I mean, so I think that does affect the travel is huge. I mean, it's so much easier now. So, losing a home game, it's tough, but it's not as dramatic as it used to be. But, game one is game one. I mean, you win game two and it's it's an even series. And now we go on the road and try to take another one. That's what it's all about, And I told you before, in my opinion, in a 7-game series, the odd number of games are the most important. Now, the first game, because it sets the tone for the series, right? Right now, the Cavaliers are on their heels, and we got to win this game, right? And but if whatever happens in game two, if the Cavs win game three, it's going to be fine. And then game five is dictates a lot. So in game seven, obviously.
Chris has, the Knicks were down. They were down 20 at one point tonight. But one thing, Porzingis has not played in the second half. And I get what Mo was saying. He's still an important piece for them. And let's give the Knicks some credit. As I was saying earlier, they are tough, man.
Here you go, Chris. Chris, you're out there. Do some work. Look on the stat sheet and see how many free throws New York has shot and see how many Boston shot. I'd be curious about that because Brunson gets to the basket. I'd be curious to see if free throws have put them back in the game or not. I know those 3 referees. They're all former D-League referees, and I know them. They call it a lot closer than some of the other refs. That'd be an interesting stat for me. Just saying.
Brunson was 6 or 7 from the line tonight.
Yeah, what about the team?
Tatum's 5 or 7, 18, 22, 23, 27, 33. They shot 33 free throws.
Who?
The Knicks.
Yeah. I mean, usually you shoot 20-something in the game. They got 33.
I'm sorry, Paul. I'm sorry. I was looking at pictures. They've shot 10, 16, 18, 20 free throws.
Who?
Boston has shot, the Knicks, Boston has shot 17, 19, 21, 26.
So it's pretty even. That's not the reason. Then I would look at, you got that up, 3-point shooting percentages.
I don't have that.
Yeah. As teams that start making shots and other teams start missing shots. 20-point lead anymore. And I told you this, Chris, before in person here in Vegas, and I'll tell everybody, half-court scores are almost meaningless. anymore. 20-point lead at halftime doesn't mean anything. You could get. We used to, if a team had a 20-point lead against you in the old days, then you would try to get it. You try to cut it to 12 going into the fourth quarter. Now you could get it even going into the fourth quarter. That's not even that hard to do anymore. So
Yeah.
interesting.
But they're going into overtime, which I think Paul's going to play into what you were talking about, what's going to eventually happen in this series with the Knicks wearing down. Because you're right about their minutes. They're riding these guys, man.
Yeah, and you know what? It might pay off this game. New York, their guys playing a lot of minutes, might win the game for them. But game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5, if there's a game 6, game 7, it adds up. I'm telling you. And now you don't have break. It's every other day, pretty much now. Not many breaks. So we'll see.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's continue to look at the playoffs. We looked at the Thunder and OKC.
I think OKC is going to be a good series. I think OKC comes out of that series.
A little more on the Pacers and Cavs. Chris mentioned a minute ago. Are you worried about this with Cleveland?
I need Garland. I need my point guard back. I need Garland back. Yeah, for sure. I'm less concerned about losing game 1 as I am getting him healthy and getting him back. That's the key. For sure. And then, I think Mobley had 20 and 10. Maybe get him a little more involved, But, my concern is getting my point guard healthy to play, Garland.
Availability.
Yep.
Availability.
As if Garland's not playing, that puts more pressure on Strus and Hunter and Ty Jerome, and they got to play all those extra minutes and produce. So, Garland is a distributor. He's a quick guard distributor that's not afraid of knocking down a pressure 3-pointer when it counts. So, that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, let's go off the court a little bit and talk about a friend of yours. Played against them, coached against his teams as during your career. Gregg Popovich called it a career. What a run he had with the Spurs. And I asked you a question today. Obviously, Pop is a Hall of Fame coach. And I asked you today what made him a great coach. And I said, he always had good players, outstanding players.
Not always.
Yeah. Right. We're talking about his championship level teams. You're right.
Yeah.
But what made him so good?
Well, I think we talk about being an NBA coach is very difficult. You have to be a disciplinarian. You got to be a father figure, uncle figure, big brother. You have to control the players, the guys that are starting, the guys that aren't playing, the coaching staff, the training staff, the strength and conditioning staff. You have your hands in everything, and it's a very difficult job. And Popovich and communication is key. And Popovich was an assistant coach in Golden State when I played there for a year, and when Don Nelson was coaching. And Nelly and Pop were really good friends. But Popovich is a military man. He was in the military. He coached for Air Force. He was a straightforward, straight shooter. I'm going to tell it like it is, but then with a little sly humor in there, a little, just a little, Ricky, that hat is terrible. Why are you wearing that hat? But I kind of like, like that. He's kind of like, but he communicated. I mean, when he drafted Tim Duncan, I saw Tim Duncan play in college, and obviously a great talent and going to be a superstar. But Tim Duncan grew up in the Caribbean as a swimmer. He didn't play basketball till he was in high school.
Right.
And he's a quiet guy. So what did Pop do? Pop took a flight and went to see Tim at his home city and spent a week with him, just talking. If you talk to Tim, they talked a little basketball. They talked more about life, family. How'd you grow up? Here's how I grew up. That's that. He made a connection. Popovich is a coach that makes connections with his players, and you saw it in that press conference today. How Ginobili and Tim Duncan. It was really kind of touching because Pop was. I hadn't talked to him. I haven't seen him, and he's really shaky. He had a stroke, and you could tell he wasn't walking very well. He was holding his arm, and you saw his former players, Ginobili and Duncan, walking with him, holding his arm, making sure he's okay, just being there, with him. And that's the type of coach Pop was, because his players felt like that with him. Now he could. So I think Green was talking, or one of his former players was talking on the TV, how when he first got to San Antonio, Pop just ripped him and was on him all the time, which Pop did. And but then started laying off a little bit when Tim told him to lay off him a little bit. And they're close as ever today. So, that X's and O's important. He's a great X and O guy. Command of the team, of the locker room. Obviously all of that, but he's a passionate guy, and he's a connector. He connects with his players, and now more than ever, you need that to be an effective coach in the NBA.
So watching that today reminded me of two other iconic coaches who the players loved them. Bobby Knight at Indiana. I remember the players walking him out to the court, and I was like, "Wow!" Because
that's a different animal, though. That's not even.
I was thinking, man, like, dude.
That's not. Yeah, but like when I saw the press conference today, that if I was in that situation, that's what my sons Michael and Brian would be. That's where they would be. That's how they would be acting, and that's how they felt. So that was, and I mean.
And the other one, Mo, was John Wooden at UCLA.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I mean, he had great players. Sure, so did everybody had great players that ever won championships. You don't win a championship without, people are on, well, he's not a very good coach. He wasn't a very good coach. Shut up, because he had great players. So Phil Jackson's not a good coach. Come on, man. So Red Auerbach wasn't a good coach. Come on, that makes no sense. I mean, the most wins in NBA history, 1,422. Here's a stat, a coaching stat, and an organization stat. If you're an NBA organization, listen to this stat. This will blow your mind, right? If I'm hiring a coach, I want this guy. 16 straight seasons with 50-plus wins. 16 straight seasons with 50-plus wins. That's and I'm telling you, some of those years he didn't have great players. He just willed them to win. That to me, he's coach of the year for 3 times. He has 5 NBA championship rings, but 16 straight years with 50-plus wins. From 1999, back in the old days, 1999, rotary phones and no fax machines, to 2027 every year. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. But he was a coach's coach too. I mean, he was an assistant at Air Force for 6 years. He was an assistant at Kansas. He's Jayhawk. He was assistant for the Spurs. Then he was an assistant at Golden State for 2 years, and then he was an assistant in San Antonio before he got the head job. So. And he also has a gold medal, by the way. So, it was great to see him. He's kind of shaky there, but it was great to see his players. And I'm so happy for him because instead of saying, "Okay, bye, Pop, coach, thanks, here's your gold watch," they're moving him up to the front office. And even though he's not going to be as impactful as he could be, because of his physical capacity. I guarantee, I promise you, he's going to be on the court, on the basketball practice court, and players are going to sit down and talk to him. Coach Pop, what do you think? How you doing? And he's going to say, your jump shot sucks. You got to get better. But then he's going to say, how's your family? How are your kids?
Yeah.
Are they okay in school? That's what kind of guy he is, and that's what he's going to be.
Chris says 1999, the old days, Mo. Come on.
Yes, they were, man.
And Mo, Larry Brown and Pop, do you know anything about their relationship?
Not really. I mean,
Was he at Kansas when Larry was there?
I think so. For one, he was only there for 1 year. So, and Larry might have brought him to San Antonio. I'm not sure, but I mean, when you look at Coach Pop's coaching tree, he's got, I think, 14 coaches that have been head coaches in the NBA or the WNBA, and he's got, I think, I just saw the tree, over 60 coaches that coach for him, that coach with him as head coaches or assistants in the NBA, WNBA, college, or FIBA. Crazy.
Wow. 108, 105 Knicks. Thanks, Steve, for that update.
That's crazy. That's
yeah, I mean, that really is. But Paul, I'm telling you, man, I did not know that that 50-game win streak. That's phenomenal.
That's unbelievable. I mean, that's part of the reason when I played for the Milwaukee Bucks in the 80s, we had 50 wins every year. We just couldn't get over the hump against Philly or Boston, but we never had a good draft pick. We never had a good draft pick. We were drafting at the bottom of the barrel, in the first round. So, put that in perspective. 16 years of that. And Popovich was general manager when he drafted Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker. He was the GM that drafted them.
Yeah. I remember when Ginobili came there, I looked at him, I'm like, nothing special about this guy. Then he just kept making plays.
As hard as, and he and Popovich went at it the first couple of years because, Popovich is kind of a controlled Tim Duncan guy, right? Love the way Tim Duncan fundamental and David Robinson, Mr. Fundamental. Ginobili's the opposite of that. And when he finally figured out, and I think some of the teammates came to talk to him saying, listen, you got to just let Ginobili be Ginobili. Now, he's going to do some stupid stuff, but he's going to make some spectacular plays. And one thing he always does, he always plays hard. He always plays hard. So, sometimes, you got to bite your tongue. No, don't take that shot. Oh, good shot.
and Mo, we were texting earlier, and I think that's what you mean by he knew how to coach talented players, like a guy like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, okay, you want him to be in the system, but you don't want him to. You don't want to take away that creativity. How do you walk that fine line with guys like that?
You got to be a good coach and a good person, a good observation. And you know what else you have to do? You have to put your ego behind you sometimes and say, listen, I need to let this player be who he is more than I think I do. He, at some point, he doesn't have to, do what I want him to do. Some point, I got to let him do what he wants to do. And that's a lot of coaches can't handle that. And a lot of coaches don't do that and they get stubborn. And, at that point, you either got to get rid of the player, no matter how great he is, and bring someone in that's going to do what you can do, or let the guy do what he does within boundaries. I mean, they don't want, Mahomes, running every play and running around and scrambling around and
Right.
but when it's necessary, absolutely. And you know what I'm going to do? I trust you that you're going to make the right decision. You're going to know when to run, you're going to know when to slide, and you're going to know when to pass. And that's what happens in the NBA. With Ginobili, I know I'm going to trust you. You're going to take, some wild shots, but for the most part, you're going to get to the basket, get to the free throw line. You're going to get a steal, do stuff on defense. So, it all evens out.
I was at that game, Chris. Rasheed Wallace did not rotate out to Horry on that shot and broke our heart. That's when you had the 2-3-2 2.
Yep, that's terrible. That's why I don't have a championship ring when I was in Dallas.
Yeah, that's why we didn't get that back to back. It was 2-3-2. I mean that. What do you think was unfair about that, Paul?
Well, first of all, they made that move because what they didn't want, teams traveled commercial. So they don't want you to travel in commercial all the time. But when we played with Dallas and Miami, we were flying commercial. I mean, we're flying a private jet. Everybody's flying private. So that thought process didn't matter anymore. And the problem is, 3 games in a row at home when you're the worst team. That's not fair. That's not fair. We have the best record. We get 4 games at home, but you get 3 games at home before we get 3 at home. How about that? We get the first 2 home games, then you get 3. Then we get another one to even it out. That's not right. So, thank goodness they changed it.
Yeah. Knicks stole game 1, 108-105, rallied from 18 down in the second half.
Crazy. I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I taped it. I don't know how the Celtics can fold like that. How did they fold like that? What did they do?
They got outscored 25-16 in the fourth quarter. They got outscored 30-23 in the third quarter.
I guarantee. You know what? I didn't watch it. I'll tell you what happened. You want me to tell you what happened?
Right.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Boston Celtics got cold from the 3, and they kept shooting threes, and they missed a lot of threes. That's the way you beat Boston. When they're hot and they shoot 50 or 60 threes, they're going to blow you out. But if they miss their threes, you can beat them.
Yeah. No, I mean, you didn't see the game. I know it because you've been watching me. You're absolutely right. They shot 25% from 3.
What did they shoot? What number?
They shot it. It's not telling me. It's just saying 25% from 3.
I guarantee they shot.
The Knicks were 46% from 3.
Yeah, but I'm telling you,
Let's see if I can find that before we get out of here.
I'll give it. That's what happens when they go cold from the 3. Then they struggle. Boston shot 17 for 37 for 46%, and Celtics shot 15 for 60. 15 for 60.
Oh, that's too
for
many.
25. That's not too many. It's only too many when you miss them.
Yeah.
And they miss them. But hey, I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna toot my own horn. Did I call that or what? Did I call that?
You called that.
I tell you what. I
you
bet.
call a lot of stuff, so I'm not surprised.
I'll call this. If you break down the Celtics shooting percentage from the 3 in the first half, I bet it was about 35%. In the second half, I bet it was about 12%. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Is KP a bigger part of the Celtics than we thought?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's an important part. I don't think they won the championship without him, but I just told you why they lost. They shot 25%. They shot 63s and shot 25%.
So the 1 and 2 seed go down at home in the East.
So we have a series. The series starts when someone
I
beats
love it, man. I love it. Now we got Denver and OKC going. Hey, Mo, just a couple of final thoughts before we get out of here. Atkinson was named Coach of the Year.
2 years from now, he'll be fired. Write that down. Watch this.
It's usually not a good thing when you get that award.
Well, we just went through 5 coaches that won championships, or one Coach of the Year, and 2 years later were fired.
Bickerstaff, JB Bickerstaff, who really did a good job here in Detroit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Maybe it's better to finish second.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's like what they used to have the Sports Illustrated cover jinx, you know.
Yeah.
And you know what else they had when I was playing in the olden days, Chris, in the 90s or 80s? when when you got your profile picture or drawing on the media guy, a lot of times those guys got traded or hurt during the year.
Yeah.
But nobody wanted to be on the cover of the media guide.
And Chris, you're right. Mo has the great quote for the night. There's only too many threes when you miss them. Hey man, once again we have interesting. Becky Harmon coached under Hammond coached under Mo. Will we ever see a women's coach in the NBA?
Possibly. It's not Vicky Hammonds anymore, but yeah, she coached under Popovich for a couple of years. She was one of the first females on the bench in the NBA, and then she was actually head coach of the Spurs in the summer league here in Las Vegas and won the Las Vegas Summer League. But now she's with the Aces, making $1 million a year. Pretty comfortable. She's won 2 championships and just barely lost last year. But here's the difference, and I'll tell you why. To answer your question, I think there will be someday, Ricky, but I'm not sure who or when. But Becky Hammonds makes $1 million a year to coach for 4 months.
Yeah.
Equal, because the WNBA season is short, and NBA season is 9 months, maybe 10 if you go to the finals. So there's a big difference. But yeah.
Hey Chris, I'm with you on that, brother. But we don't want JB to win the Coach of the Year award, man. We'll take second place. We'll take second.
When you want to win Coach of the Year is when you win a championship, because then they still fire after 2 years. We learned that too. But you get a good contract.
Any final thoughts, Mo? We got Denver and OKC on. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think Denver just got out of a long series, right, with the Clippers, and they just played 2 nights ago. And we just talked about the depth of OKC, and they're going into OKC. But then again, the Knicks pretty much did the same thing, which is kind of interesting to me. But I think OKC is deep. It's their year. I'm hoping for an OKC Minnesota series. Hey, I just thought about this. I know Chris Finch from Minnesota, and I know Steve from Golden State. Maybe I get a couple tickets and take Linda to the games here in Golden State. Hey, let me get on the phone and let me see if I can make that happen.
There you go. Hey, Mo, gosh, I had one more thing I was going to ask you. Oh, hey, shout out to Westbrook. He's finally doing what you've been asking him to do the last 5 years. Accept
your role. He's finally accepted his role.
and he's been a valuable addition.
Great. He's a big reason why they're there. And he's a big reason because they didn't have him when they won the championship. They didn't have any bench. Now he's a valuable player coming off the bench. It's a big acquisition. A good job by Denver. I think they need to make one more move and get another body that can play in their rotation, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, we're gonna
accept your role. Accept your role, people out there. Accept your role.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it, especially on game night, to have this many people join us. I'm totally focused in on the show. If we have another game next Monday from my great friend Paul Mokeski, I'm Rick Hampton. Good night, everybody. Peace.
Cinco de
Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.